All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What's up, everyone? Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for the round 2 edition of the Travelers Championship PGA Showdown show here on the Mayo Media Network. As always, tonight, solo booth. My guy Hoop is away, so just want to make sure we started off with that. We are going to go through everything as normal. We're going to talk through all of the weather, the plays, the picks, the ranges, the tiers, just going through everything completely. So appreciate you guys all joining me here. I got most of it broken down already here on my setup, but just give me 1 second. Load this thing up. All right, so interesting first day. Denny at the last comes through, 10 under. It looked like a pretty lucky bounce, but it bounced up onto the green, ended up making it to 10 under on the day. Just going through some of the stuff here. It looks like just quick cut line update. I'll get there for the early stuff, but -3 is 42.7% using data golf for this. It looks like -2, 27.2, and then -4, 20.7. So see how it all shakes out tomorrow when we get there and what that looks like. But overall, right now, looking, pretty low scores out there so far today. Going to talk about it in a second from a weather perspective, because did see something this morning. Obviously, the afternoon, that was the next thing I was going to quickly just bring up was, I think it was a half stroke better. Just let me see here. I got the split by wave. Just under a half stroke better. So the afternoon tore it up. Some of those guys came from high. Obviously, you got a little bit of a better crew too. Scotty, Rory, Rahm, Hovland, Finau, all these guys. So not all of them were up there, but many of them were. So just noticing that. And then guys like Denny himself who came through, and Adam Scott and those guys. So we'll talk about that. Gonna do it as usual. If you guys have questions, throw them into the chat. Anyone who's on with me live, I'll be able to take as many as possible, keep it interactive, get to the stuff at the end, looking things up, seeing different things on holes. But one of the first things I wanted to note, because before we get to the weather, just going back to look at it today, and at the top of the board, the guys that played AM, PM, or at least the ones I'll mention, Keegan, Cantlay, Streelman, Lowry, and I went back and checked it, and regardless of where you see their run, so if you go to Cantlay, for example, started on the back 9. That's where his 4 birdies were for the first 6 holes. You can see that. If you go to Streelman started super strong, started on the front 9 himself, 4 through 6, and then after that tailed off a little bit. So it's the same for Lowry. It's the same for Keegan, actually. Keegan had started on the back 9, crushed it out of the gate, went 5 straight birdies, couple pars, another birdie, and then a par at the last, had himself a decent front when he turned the corner. But just noticing that and just talking about it out loud, like this is something I wanted to bring in, was the morning was really gettable right out of the gates. And I think tomorrow looks like it's going to be a little bit of the same. As of right now, the weather sort of looks basic throughout the day, not much winds at all in the morning, around 12, 1 o'clock. It's not much. It just goes 6 to 10 miles per hour, nothing crazy, gusts 10 to 16 or 17. But we know of the, a little bit hotter temperatures. The greens bake out a little bit more. A little bit bumpy, I should say, more than bake out. It's not going to be extremely hot, but just in general. But in the morning, there's actually even a little bit of precipitation comes down before they go out first thing. So if you think some of these guys can get out there in the morning, I do. That's what I'm going to be attacking. There's also the talent level of those guys. I don't think it's anything where I'm going to be completely all in, but I talk about this on plenty of these shows as I'm going through it. I'll definitely have a heavy morning run, and then I'll be mixing in a couple different guys from the afternoon, 1 to 2 guys there. It looks like, some of them that I have tagged here for when we go through. But the player pool is pretty tight already. Went through, broke it down. The chat's talking about it. Yeah. Who's worse? Someone said today, is it Homa or is it JT? JT kind of bounced back a little bit there at the end of his round. Let me just look at JT right now. I think it was a really bad start. Again, I posted he came in at like 4% on the main slate. Approach game was actually much better today. Left both of the par 5s out there, lost about 2 strokes with the putter almost. Nothing too crazy, but if you wanted to go back to JT, I wouldn't completely hate it. If you think that he's, picked it up a little bit there at the end, I don't see it. Homa, really bad all around too. 3 birdies on the day, but just a bunch of bad holes to go with it. Not many holes where he gained in general on approach. Really bad with to be honest, he had 2 holes where he drained putts and still came out almost losing 2 with the putter. So just really bad day for both those two guys there. Right now, Mike just asked about a Siwoo bounce back in round 2. Let's have a quick look at that one. We'll go through the tiers as always in a second as well. I just want to see. Yeah, Siwoo, 3 birdies, left one of the par 5s out there, and then, man, just lost everything with the putter, especially on the front 9. I mean, really both sides with the front 9. Left quite a few out there. And what does Siwoo have tomorrow? So let's see, Siwoo Kim. He was afternoon today. So, yeah, he's going out in the morning. So he's somebody to look at. He's 8,100 tomorrow. So when you see someone losing that many strokes with the putter and it's a guy like Siwoo who can get hot for showdown, I actually have no problem with it. So I think he'd be fine to go back to. Again, nothing really that crazy on approach. And to be honest, he broke even on approach. But on hole 17, he lost almost a stroke and a half on just that one hole. So I definitely think that's something to consider. We have the tee times, Antonio. They're made the day before. So we're not saying that. I'm just confirming where a guy's going at. It's on Saturday and Sunday when you have to keep an eye out for what they'll actually be. I'm saying just looking up Siwoo, just remembering he was a PM/AM guy. So, yeah, Scott Foster, of course, looked easy, like 90 players under par, something like that. I didn't see the exact numbers, but it is a lot of guys that went under par. My guy Mayo, we're here on the Mayo Media Network. If you haven't yet done so, subscribe, hit that like button for me. It helps me out, but he's got the big bet on all these guys going. I think it was 2 under or better or something like that is what the number was. Right now, I see 91 guys under par. So at 1 under or better. So just keeping that in mind, something to look at. But for tomorrow, like I said, I definitely do like targeting this early wave. It's always good. I talk about it all the time, but we get new listeners, new watchers every single week on this show, mentioning about the other side of it, not just weather, not just everything that goes with that, but also making the cut, right? It's a tough time. It's a designated event. The mentality you have going in to have to make that cut, get that paycheck for these guys. Some of them, it's just better off where they can go out, set the tone, play golf. There's not a lot of stress there. And then the guys or compared to the afternoon, I should say, versus the guys in the afternoon have to go out and they find out sort of where they have to be at. They start making a mistake or anything like that happens and can pop up. You can have a little bit of trouble. And then, yes, Romeo, my guy, shout out to Romeo. He's back, baby. Sungjae Im is back. A lot with the putter, but that little streak to start the day, he had the birdie early and then he went birdie, eagle, birdie, 5, 6, 7. Didn't do anything crazy on the back, but overall, just a solid day across the board. The stats were fine. Everything looked good. It's the Willie Wilcox, man, on the bag. We learned 2 things this past week about Sungjae. 1, Willie Wilcox was going to be on the bag for the next couple weeks. So far, so good on the start. 2, Sungjae Im initials, SHIPIT. ShipItNation.com. Got to remind you guys of that before we get into these tiers. If you haven't yet done so, jump on over to ShipItNation.com. Check it out. We've got everything going on right now with MLB, PGA, and then, of course, we just added MMA. So we've got 3 major sports that are going on right now, and then we'll have NFL, NBA, and NHL full steam ahead once those come back around as well. You can lock in your payment right now. It's not a 1-month only deal. It's nothing like that. $59 a month or $5.99 for the annual. People asked about the annual. Again, there's sites out there, like I said, there's sites with great information, great projections, great things that they have, but they're charging that in some cases for one sport. Ours is going to be for all 6 of those major sports. By the time all is said and done, we're almost there on the PGA MMA stuff anyway. Already have the tools and projections for MLB, but for MMA and for PGA, it's coming. By the time we're done, all 6 sports will have projections, tools, and content with the Discord, with the idea being quite simple that when you join in, you can build a process of your own. It's everything you need to have success with DFS. Once that's said and done, you get all the information, you build your own process, and then you lean on the Discord. Great people in there. And then myself, our team, where you guys can lean on us as well to ask questions, get better at the game, work at getting ahead and going up against some of these people playing full time and doing this for a living. So definitely think you guys should get over there. The $5.99, while sounds like a lot on paper, it's $49 a month. When you break it down, that's locked in as well. So for everything that you're going to be getting, it's less than $10 a sport. When we add all 6 sports, the $59 a month is less than $2 a day. So the members will talk about it. We're going to have some of that stuff going up soon where they can talk about it even more. But just keep it in mind, guys. ShipItNation.com. Check it out. Get in now while the price is low. So let's move on. Let's get to these tiers. Let's look at it from a breakdown here. And again, I've got the guys going out earlier, the ones that I'm interested in. I'll add in some of the PM twists and guys like that on it. One guy I wanted to look up, and you guys can throw more into the mix, was Xander. I built a sort of hedge lineup last minute. You guys know I'm always building these PM/AM lineups. And the last minute, I had, so much of the other guys in the PM/AM side that I decided to build a Cantlay Xander. And I'm going to look up Xander here in a second. But I put Keegan in it because off of Henley at that price being so popular in the PM side or just in general today. I thought that would be a good way to do it. Obviously got a great round out of Keegan, but we've also seen can't quite go full Keegan because he's not at the top. Shout out, moment of silence for Ryan Kirshner, our guy, the man on Twitter. He said he would quit if someone got to 9 under. Good news, guys technically did get to 9 under, but the leader got to 10 under. So like they said, he doesn't have to quit sports betting on golf. He can stay in the mix and be on top of it. But just a great, funny dude. Good follow on Twitter. If you guys haven't checked out Brian Kirshner, go do it now. I think it's at Brian Kirshner _. He had an outright on Keegan, first round leader. Adam Scott looked like he was going to take it away. And then Denny goes and completely takes it away, rips his heart out. So some good content over there today. But just going back to it, this lineup had Xander in it. I'm just pulling up Xander now because he's one that I didn't have in the mix here. But 6 birdies, left one of the par 5s out there, gained on approach while actually having a stretch of holes 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8, even 9. But on 3, 6, 7, and 8, he really lost almost 2 strokes on approach. So I think I'm going to get Xander back in the mix as well for tomorrow as one of the PM guys that I would be on, just of note, because again, that can turn around. And when you're already putting up 6 birdies in Showdown, that can definitely be something too, where you can just make up for it in other ways. The course, like I said, is gettable. We'll see. He is in the afternoon, so that's something to keep in mind, obviously going back out there. But if you're limiting it or putting 1 to 2 max, shouldn't be as big of a deal. So just looking at it from that perspective, him and Cantlay were the only 2 up there that I would really consider for tomorrow afternoon. The other guys are obvious. Your pick between Scotty, Rory, Rahm. Someone asked in the chat, is Rory going to make another hole-in-one? Probably not. It actually was surprisingly to some and to myself as well, his first ever hole-in-one at a PGA Tour event. So that's how they listed it, and that was very surprising to me. But true, the reaction was kind of, he was definitely excited. It's a hole-in-one, but it was also kind of like a lot of maybe what's been piling up over these past few weeks. Last week, very tough week, close call for him, that it's kind of like just, of course now, or who cares, but whatever, move on. He's obviously playing for those big ones, but he'll take a hole-in-one. He'll take a win anywhere he can get it, I'm sure. So just interesting to note there. But for Rory today, I'll pull him up quickly. Xander's stats I just listed off. Rory, very solid on approach, but again, you got to chalk up. So he gained over 3 on approach. Over 2 was from the hole-in-one. Besides that, though, it wasn't anything horrible. It just wasn't anything great. It was just decent across the board. Solid day. Ball striking was good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birdies otherwise. Left both of the par 5s out there. So I definitely have interest in Rory in the morning. I think Scotty will stay the most popular. Again, he was most popular on the main slate. It was another classic ho-hum Scotty round. He did gain with the putter, which was nice finally. But in general, this for Scotty is insane. It's a 7 under bogey-free round, 7 birdies, the rest all pars, where it kind of felt like it was very quiet. And so again, I think that'll make sense getting him in tomorrow. And then Rahm is the only other guy I'll look at really quickly. He did gain a bunch with the putter today, but still put up 5 birdies, left one of the par 5s out there. His approach game wasn't bad. So a little bit off the tee, but I don't think that'll be as big of a problem. And there is sort of that situation where you can still get around here like that. Thigala did it as well with a lot of good short game in that for today. So if you just look at it from that perspective, I don't think it's going to be the biggest thing to worry about. Let me see the rest of this list here. Anybody else? Someone said thoughts on Connors. We'll get there. Just going down through Hovland, Finau, and Fleetwood were some other guys going out in the morning that I was taking a look at. I'll pull them up really quick while we're here. Hovland, solid 5 birdies, left one of the par 5s out there. Pretty standard stuff across the board. So not a bad start from Hovland. Finau, up and down. He did leave one of the par 5s out there. Only 3 birdies on the day. Lost on approach, but there was 3 pretty bad holes. It was the stretch of 9, 11, and 12 where it wasn't great for him. So probably a little bit down on Finau compared to some of the others around him. Similar could go for Fleetwood. The only thing is for Fleetwood, it was really one super bad hole, like hole 8, lost a ton there. The thing was he didn't do much elsewhere. So again, those 2 guys at the bottom, not as high on them. And if you are going to go heavier stars and scrubs, Scheffler, Rory for sure that I like. And then if you are going to play some of the afternoon guys like a Schauffele or a Cantlay, maybe you can just skip over this range. Maybe keep Hovland in there and go a little bit less or off Finau and Fleetwood. I probably won't get nearly as much as them. But just looking at this next range, we can move on, go to this 8K range in general. The Wyndham Clark thing, JT came back and said he was joking, so we'll have to see. I think it could have just been damage control, but I think he was just joking. He said like something like, the guy wins one U.S. Open, and I got to mark it from 80 yards. It's just messing around, but the cameras did pick it, or sorry, the mic did pick it up as a hot mic, so we'll see his damage control, how it goes. But I don't think Wyndham Clark really cares about anything right now. He's coming off of a win at the Wells Fargo and now really coming off a win at a major. So nothing's gonna bother him at this moment. Homa looks bad. Talked about him already. Theegala, I'm not chasing that. Again, if he continues to find his way around here like that, that's good for him. Gained 4 strokes with the putter. The approach was fine. He gained on approach, and he still made other birdies out there. He is a good showdown play, but just in general, not somebody that I'm going to be chasing here in this spot. He goes out in the afternoon tomorrow, so if you fit him in, so be it. For me, I'm not going to be on it. I can note that right now, too, to you guys. For my player pool tomorrow, you won't see Denny, you won't see Keegan, you won't see Scott, you won't see Theegala, and you won't see Eric Cole. Eric Cole, again, man, this guy, 6 under, bogey-free, looks like an absolute hero stud. Lost on approach, legitimately, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 really bad holes, 7 or 8, maybe even 9 in total. And then holes out for birdie. So his around the green game is like all from this one hole where he holes out for birdie on 16. And then he gains almost 3 strokes with the putter again. So I know it's kind of what he does, but for me, just not going to be in there. So those 5 guys that I just mentioned, you won't see on my player pools. Theegala, I'm just double checking in my head right now, but like I said, that's the only guy I would even consider going back to. So just going back to it here: McCarthy, Bradley, Scott, Cole, and Theegala. But I'm just talking about Theegala out loud. The only thing is, I always say, and it is true, the guy is just a really good showdown play. So cancel what I said. Go back to 4, only in case he pops up for the transparency factor to make sure you've got that. I don't think I will, but just in general, it's definitely not. You're not going to see those other 4. This one guy I would consider with Theegala just because he's a good showdown play. He'd be one of the guys in my 4-2 or 5-1s where he's the only afternoon guy that shows up there. Other than that, people wanted to talk about Henley. Let's pull Henley up. Henley's interesting because lost almost 3 strokes with the putter. Look, he was the ultimate chalk on the main slate. He was at like 30, 33 to 1. We talked about this in our Discord. Others had talked about it. Obviously, I understand why in a vacuum you're going to say bad chalk right out of the gate because he's so heavily owned. Just look at a guy like Keegan, who's 1/3 of the ownership. And I get all that. But what I'm saying is, too, is I also think his ownership, surprisingly, this may be surprising to some, I think it was kept in check. I actually think it could have got a lot higher. I think the Justin Rose factor from the previous week being 7,700 and completely, whiffing kept Henley's number in check. I know a lot of people that were pivoting off him for single entry and things like that. And again, he still got up there, but I think he could have been even higher because of that. And then you go pull the stats for today. Like I said, pretty solid on approach, gained almost a stroke, 3 birdies, an eagle. The eagle was obviously a big time around the green, but if you go look at it, left one of the par 5s out there and lost almost 3 strokes with the putter, 2.5 really bad holes. So I wouldn't hate it if you go back to him. I just, again, the interesting side argument to that is I think everybody's kind of sort of on the edge of their seat that has him in the main slate. And this is why I always say I don't hedge or go against this or anything. I like Henley based on those numbers. I could play him tomorrow. He's not my favorite play. I'm just saying he's not going to be a core play over at shipitnation.com or anything like that. But I think what happens tomorrow is it's sort of that double reverse where people say, oh, well, I already got enough of him in main slate. He's going to be a big deciding factor for me. He started so strong with the birdie, the eagle, everything that he had going, and then he fell back, and then they start to talk themselves out of it for tomorrow. And what if he not only gets you there for the main, but was required for showdown? You're happy about your main, but are you happy that you just bombed off all your showdown money because you wouldn't go back to him because of a hedge? Not me. I'm playing a whole new slate tomorrow. So I just look at it from that perspective to see how it goes. And then Fitz, we got to look him up. This is a guy that we've used a lot in round 2, right? Where we talked about it. And what did Antonio just say? He said bogey to par 5, still shot a 3 under. Yeah, let's pull the whole description here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 birdies, a streak, a bogey on a par 5, gained on approach, nothing too crazy. One hole, obviously hole 6 was decent for him, but other than that, it wasn't like he was way off. And then gained almost 2 strokes with the putter, but 1, 2, 3 holes. 2, 6, and 9. He lost almost 2 strokes with the putter. So you could also say it wasn't like he really, had a huge day with it. That's just kind of good putting across the board on the back nine, just solid putting from 11 through 17 pretty much, a little off on 14. So just to note that from that perspective, I definitely think, he's interesting for tomorrow at 8,600. Sung Jae, you can go back to. And then last guy I'll look in an 8K range is Tom Kim. I'm not going to go, full deep dive in the 7s and 6s, but I've got some guys we'll talk about. But I do want to see Tom Kim because how did he end up? I think he started pretty strong, got a bit rocky through the middle there, and then finished strong as well. So just looking at him, gained almost a stroke on approach, nothing too in and out there. 6 birdies on the day, though, and lost a half stroke with the putter. So, again, I got no problem going back to someone who's playing like that. Took care of the par 5s. That one stretch of 10 through 12 really hurt him. So, if you think of it from that perspective, I don't have any problem with it. So, keep him in your pools if you want. I like him there. Ches is going crazy. Yeah, Ches is another guy I'm on. We'll get there in a second. We can go there now. We'll go to 7K range. Scott, not playing. Like I said, that round is fine. Obviously very good across the board, but not going to be in on him. Not going to be in on Denny. They both go back out in the morning. There has been a situation where, leaders get a little bit overlooked because people say, basically what happens is people say that, I'm going to fade the leader. And so they don't go back to him, but they're both playing extremely well. So maybe their ownership's kept in check because of that. You could see it again. It's just really hard to back up a round like that. That's what makes it so tough versus a guy like Scotty, who you don't really think he's backing anything up. He just did what Scotty does. This is classic Scotty with the ball striking. And then this time he actually gained a stroke with the putter like we already talked about. So I don't hate that. Streelman, another guy I talked about earlier, just going back to him. Yeah, won't be playing Streelman either tomorrow. He can add him to the mix of the 5 guys with maybe Thigala stays in, like I said. So what was Thigala's price? I got to check that quickly while I'm on here just so I can go through it for after. Is 8,700. Again, don't know if I'll go there, but I'm going to just take a note of them. So in case I do, but it'll be very light if I even do go back. But it's just because, like you say, he's a guy where it's really 3 factors for me, just so people get a mindset on how I think about it. He's obviously a good showdown play, the up and down scoring. He's a unique price at 8,700. There's no duplicates of him. You could play Fitz instead. You could go up to the 9K range, but he's the only guy at 8,700. So fitting some 2v2s if you are maxing out salary in some cases works. And then lastly, I'm not playing many PM guys. So if I fit him in as one of them, it's just some of the lineups that I'll get into. It's almost the perfect storm for how I want to set up my lineups. Hopefully it's not a situation like the past few weeks where a guy like Siwoo has burned me, but let's move on. Let's go to the 7K range. Let's talk through it here just to bring it up. Chat just said Jaeger, of course, always Jaeger. This guy, again, today, we'll look him up. We'll start with him, Steven Jaeger. This guy went 8 birdies on the day. Lost on approach, but there was a stretch that was really bad. Still managed to make up for it elsewhere with birdies. Took care of the par 5s. And anybody who's making 8 birdies in a day at his price is going in the player pool. He's 7,300 tomorrow. It's fine. Like, just play him. He goes out early. It doesn't matter. Like, you can definitely play that guy no matter what. At 7,300, that price point is ridiculous. Some of the guys, they just don't really put price changes on. And, for most guys, to be honest, and that's even the case that you could make, again, going back to Adam Scott and Denny. I just don't want to play the guys at the top because I think most people that aren't watching shows like this, watching content, playing it, whatever, they're not going to go to it. So how did the lefties do? Higo +4, Harmon 4 under, the opposite end. Who else am I missing here? Cody Gribble in the field? No. Let me know. I forget who all the lefties are, but if you got them, just throw them out there. Who's the other guy you just mentioned? Hostler? Let me see Hostler. I think Hostler is he goes out in the afternoon tomorrow. He's not someone I would rush to get. Really don't care about the stats. Let's see. Lost everything he lost on approach was 1 hole, but the rest, it wasn't like he was phenomenal elsewhere. Basic with the putter. Like, there's nothing I see with Hostler that says, like, I got to get back in on that to go there. Just going through some other guys. So Shane Lowry, he's one that I want to look up quick. He's one of the PM guys that I'll consider, again, a caliber, his talent, that caliber, if more people are playing more AM guys, if more people are playing Denny and Adam Scott at the same price. He had 6 birdies, took care of both the par 5s, bogey-free round, just missed a streak, solid approach numbers all day, like pretty equal across the board. Even his bad holes were not that bad. Hole 6 was his worst, actually, on approach. Guess what? Still made birdie there from some solid around the green game play. And then the putter was fine. Like, it was up and down, a couple really good holes, a couple okay holes. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. So Lowry's one of the guys I like in the PM tomorrow. Definitely think he's an interesting guy to go to. And again, while he is T5 and up the board in afternoon, if more people are playing AM guys, if more people are playing Denny, more people are playing Adam Scott, that's what you're going to find there. So I definitely think he's a guy that you could go to. Let's look up Ludwig Aberg. I think Hostler you just mentioned. If this one's just as bad, I might not bring him up again. But Ludwig, fine. I mean, again, nothing special, though. Again, you got to look at the numbers. You got to dig in. This guy lost on approach holing out for eagle, which is almost 2 strokes gain. He played horrible. His approach was terrible. He made 3 birdies and a hole out eagle. The rest, and that was with taking care of one of the par 5s. Lost approach on 1, 2, 3, 4 very heavily out of the gate. 5 lost a big one on 14. Hold out, or sorry, around the green it counts as, because that was on hole 15. It was a chip in. Sorry, it wasn't on approach. So it was almost 2 strokes around the green that he gained on that hole. I do apologize there, but overall, still just a pretty bad day on approach. Lost over a stroke, gained most of it around the green. The putter, like I just don't see anything there. And he's a guy that's going to be an excellent talent. It wouldn't take away from that, but for Showdown tomorrow, not anybody that I'm running to grab. So I'll look at some of the others in the end here when you guys bring them up. Hubbard, I want to look him up too. Hubbard was one guy I had start. I'll bring him into the mix. We're 25 minutes in, so we got time. We're not going to rush anything, but won't be here all night either. Hubbard, similar to Jaeger. I'll bring it up. He was popular on the main. Now he's similar to Jaeger, sorry for scoring, but similar to Henley, I should say, for my thought process. So everyone that has him has a lot of them. Or whoever is already on him is 15, 20% is what he's owned. So if they're overweight, to get him to that number, whatever it might be, I think a lot of people will lean back to a guy that's T68 that's only 1 under and say, I've got enough. But similar to Jaeger, so 6 birdies on the day, bogeyed one of the par 5s, very solid on approach, lost pretty big on 1 hole, but still gained almost 2 strokes on the day, and then gained some with the putter, but it wasn't 1 hole. It wasn't like anything special. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 or 12 holes that he gained with the putter. So just did his normal thing. Postman, who said Connors? One thing I missed, actually, guys. Let me go back to Connors for 2 seconds. Connors goes out first thing in the morning, and I don't see him here. What's his price? 7,600. Oh, I just skipped over the stats. I apologize. So just go back to him, because somebody had two people had asked about him. 300 on the day, 4 birdies, 1 bogey, took care of the par 5s, solid across the board. He's fine. Definitely a good play for tomorrow. Lost almost 2.5 strokes with the putter, and it was across 4 or 5 different holes. So yeah, Connors is definitely in play tomorrow for sure. I like him for the slate, 7,600. Not my favorite play there, but just someone I would bring up. Jaeger, I already talked about. 2 guys in the afternoon, and then 3 guys, and then we'll go to the 6K range, and then 2 other guys in the morning, right quick. So Hardy, if you want to play him again, I played him on the main. Didn't do anything wrong, really. Left the par 5 out there, lost on approach, still went 1 under and made 4 birdies. So I could go back to him. Seamus Power lost heavily on approach, 3 birdies, but left the 2 par 5s out there, gained a little bit with the putter. Less interest in Seamus Power, but he'd be a good guy in Showdown if you wanted to go back to him. I don't love that he gained it all with the putter. The 3 guys real quick I want to look at. Someone talked earlier, Reevy, again, at 7,200. I'm not sure how many people will play him, but 6 under, bogey free, left one of the par 5s out there, gained on approach, just solid across the board. Every stat around the green, everything was good, so I don't mind him. He goes out in the afternoon. Maybe less people play him if they're playing the morning. Todd was another guy that did that. Todd had 6 birdies on the day, left one of the par 5s out there, very even across the board, and a really solid back 9 for him. So I don't hate Brendan Todd. And then Cameron Davis was a guy that's sitting T8. Again, I think when people just are playing the guys in this range, they're going to go more above these guys. They're sort of just right there, and they could have another round very similar to this. He had 6 birdies, left one of the par 5s out there, only 1 bogey, solid stats across the board, great off the tee, great on approach, made a few putts. Like, again, Cameron Davis, another guy that you could look at. Anybody that I can see here in the chat you guys want to check out? Callum Tarrant. This probably gets us into the 6K range anyway, right? What's Tarrant's price tomorrow? 6,400. So we'll check him out real quick just to see, and then I'll go through. I don't have many guys down here, but just to see Callum Tarrant, interested. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 birdies, left the par 5 out there. Pretty solid on approach, gave some back on one, made it up on the other, and still came out at a stroke and a half. Lost really big with the putter on a couple holes and still almost gained on the day. So I could definitely add Tarrant into the mix. But the only thing I want to see is, let me just check one more thing. Hoop was on with me. He would love him too. Yeah, that is interesting too, because Tarrant also has the morning tee time. So shout out to Badger DFS. We'll be adding in Callum Tarrant just for Badger. Let me see this here. Callum Tarrant, 6,400, and he goes out in the morning too, which is nice also. Anybody else throw it in there? Joey B. Bramlett is actually who is kicking off our range. So the chat just asked about Joey B. 4 birdies. Man, really bad day on approach. But, this is what it was I had marked for him. Yeah, 1 bad hole. So 8 is where he lost pretty much all his approach. It wasn't that great otherwise, though, to be honest, but he did lose some with the putter. So, again, probably less on him, but he was one I had marked to check out. Kevin Yu. Anybody who's following Kevin Yu today, this guy came back from injury. I believe it was something with his knee. And first time coming back. I mean, he started extremely strong. It failed a little bit on the back, but took care of the par 5s, 7 birdies. Again, at this price point, maybe people play him. I don't know how much they go to him, though. And it's just a guy that I can't see getting, who knows? I thought Nagano on Sunday for round 4. I said, if in our Discord, I said, if he's like 8 to 12, like I'm not interested. That's bad. He came in at 24%. It was a, generational opportunity. So luckily made money on that day. It could have been a lot better though. Zach Johnson, someone just brought up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 birdies, an eagle. Really solid on approach. Lost 2 strokes with the putter. Now let's look at the extra stuff with Zach Johnson. So this is where sometimes you find some stuff. Goes back out in the morning. And then how much is he? 6,100. All right, this guy might be chalk tomorrow for sure. Bung Magoo. Zach Johnson started so electric. It was pretty solid across the board, to be honest. I know that the ending wasn't the best for the last 5 holes, assuming he started on the front. I don't have it up right in front of me, but just in general, still a solid day, really. And even some of that stuff there was like, hole 14 was the putter. Hole 18 was the putter. He lost 3 strokes with the putter on holes 14 and 18 and lost 2 on the day. So at 6,100, definitely somebody to consider down there to make it all work. I fear he's going to get some ownership though to make those top heavy lineups work. So keep that in mind when you're playing him. But again, no problem playing him and rolling him out there at 6,100. That price just doesn't matter. And then I had Grayson Sigg is somebody I wanted to look at. So he's 4 under, 6 birdies, left one of the par 5s out there, even keeled across the board and still lost with the putter. So he's definitely someone that I liked here. Goes out in the morning. I want to look up Benjamin James. How did his day end up? 4 birdies, left the par 5 out there. Not the best day all around. Again, it's tough to say. He does go out in the morning early. First look at him here, it wasn't the best, but four birdies, left the par 5 out there. You could do worse. I think the Zach Johnson play would definitely become more popular. And yes, Laker Taker 2003, hit that like button. It helps us out, right? If you guys can do that, it takes 2 seconds, free to do. Subscribe if you haven't already. That's one thing for sure. And then I'm just going to throw this up there for anyone that's joining late. If you guys can do it, again, trying to grow the channel. If you can help us out at SHIPIT Nation, even if you don't want to subscribe or you can't subscribe to the site, that's fine. It's not for everybody. It's also maybe right now you're working on it and these free shows can help make you some money. And then you end up signing up in there and get more of the stuff we've got to offer. We talk about it all the time, but SHIPIT Nation, innovation, trying to do things just a little bit differently, education, trying to help people learn, get better at DFS. So think this should be it. I'm going to throw it in the chat so you guys have it. I'll double check it live while we're here. It is, yeah, almost 1,700 subscribers already. So only 3 or 4 weeks into that YouTube channel. If you guys can do us a favor, grab that one up. I'll leave it up on the screen for a few minutes here as we round out the end. Throw anybody else in the chat that you want me to talk about. I don't see many others. Someone mentioned Hadley, so I'm going to go to him right quick. Hadley, what did he do? 4, 5, 6 birdies today. Took care of both the par 5s. Solid on approach across the board. Decent with the putter. Everything looks good. Let's look up the other stuff with Hadley here. Hadley will be going out in the morning. Hadley's price tomorrow, 6,500. So we're finding some gems. That's the benefit of this show. We keep it interactive. We see what we can find. I got no problem with Hadley getting into the pool. He goes out. Again, I'm looking for things that line up. If you guys haven't caught on already, that's just sort of how I'm doing it. But a guy like him, and it's at a price where I don't have anybody at. So if it makes something work, I'm okay with that as well. So that's kind of the main angle I'm looking at is for me right now. Is he going out in the morning, which I kind of like? Yes. Does he have a good price? 6,500? Yes. Do the stats look good? And are they fair across the board? Yes. And then, is it a guy that scored enough today that it could make a difference at that price tag? For, well, 6 birdies today is not too bad. And when the stats are that even across the board, I don't got a problem with it. Eric, we talked about this already. Don't see anything huge, but for me, I like playing it. Like actually today, the afternoon ended up easier. But again, when you go look at tomorrow, it's no wind at all in the morning, a little bit of dew or precipitation comes down early before they kind of go out and hit the first round, or sorry, the second round and tee off the first groups go out, I should say, trying to say. And then in the afternoon around 12 o'clock, it's only 6 to 10 miles per hour. Nothing that's going to kill you. It's 8 to 17 gusts, nothing crazy there. It does get a little bit hotter. The greens get a little bit bumpier. All that stuff that I look at that to me says, again, I got no problem always playing guys in the morning anyway. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective. The chat also wants to talk about CT Pan, Glover. We already talked about Kevin Yu. We're in on him. And then Rye. Let's look these guys up and then no more. We'll get out of here. But Rye first, we'll work backwards. 6 birdies. A few bogeys in there. The stats are solid across the board. Left a little bit with the putter. I think he went out this afternoon. So Rye. Let's see. What's his price tomorrow? 7,400. Yeah, Rye. Actually, I apologize. He was already in there. I just didn't go over him earlier, so I missed that one. So Rye, we're in on. Davis Thompson. Let's do these last ones quick. Davis Thompson. What did he do? Wow, 4 birdies, about 4 birdies, an eagle. Gained almost a stroke on approach. Lost a little bit with the putter. What's Davis Thompson like for tomorrow? Going out in the afternoon. 6,500. I don't know. I kind of liked Hadley better when we just looked him up. So we'll see how that one ends up. But I think I'll be good there. Glover. What did he do? Glover went out this afternoon. Three birdies, left both the par 5s out there, but no good stats. Like nothing that I'm seeing that would interest me. So I don't care too much about Glover. And then someone else asked about CT Pan. I know it was bad. I'm just going to look it up. It was very bad. What happened to him? Irons. Went full Sungjae from the last 3 events for Sungjae Im, where he lost them completely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really bad holes on the front 9, losing over 2 strokes on approach. The back 9 had 3 pretty bad holes, a couple of okay holes, and got 2 birdies out of it. But yeah, nothing special for CT Pan there. So I don't see anything at all that I'd have interest with him. So I think that's going to do it, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be solo again, I believe. We'll see. I might have a guest. We'll see what happens here, but we'll go back tomorrow for the round 3 show right here on the same channel. We'll go back through it and see how that shakes out. Looking for a good round tomorrow. But for the round 2 show for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.